Fourth Sunday of Lent. During the time of Socrates there lived in Athens a group of philosophers called sophists. The word sophist means, the lover of wisdom. But the sophists were not lovers of wisdom and truth but a kind of parasite in the world of philosophy. Plato, the disciple of Socrates, explains how the sophists used to fool others by their treacherous ways to find means for daily life. One day a poor farmer was going to the market to sell his lamb. Some sophists met him on the way. One of the sophists approached him and said, "Good morning, old man, where are you going with this beautiful dog? Is it your dog or your neighbor's?" The farmer got angry at that and said, "Are you mad or blind, you foolish young man? Why do you say it is a dog? It is not a dog but a lamb that anyone has got eyes can see." The furious farmer walked away with his lamb a little further. Then another sophist approached him and asked, "Old man, where are you heading with the dog? Is it a friendly dog or a biting one?" The farmer became a little bit confused at that and looked at his lamb and made sure that was not a dog but a lamb. But when he was near to the marketplace another sophist approached him and said, "Old man, don't you know that we are not allowed to enter the markets with dogs?" Hearing that, the farmer lost his sense and left the lamb behind. When the farmer walked away, the sophist took the lamb and sold it in the same market and shared the money with his friends. In today's gospel the Pharisees appear almost like cunning sophists, that they try to create some kind of confusion in the life of a man whom Jesus had healed from blindness. On their way Jesus and his disciples met with a blind man. Seeing him the disciples asked, "How did that man become blind? Did he become blind because of his sins or the sins of his parents?" Jesus replied that the blind became blind neither because of his sins nor because of the sins of his parents. Among the Jews there was a belief that one becomes handicapped either because of his sin or because of the sins of his parents. Due to such a belief, people in general did not like to show any compassion to the people who were suffering from deformities. Besides that, they even showed contempt towards such people by counting them as sinners. Jesus corrected such a foolish belief that was spread among the people by saying the people with deformities were born so not because of their sins or the sins of their parents but that it was the will of God. He proved that by giving sight to that blind man. But the Pharisees, who always tried to find some faults with Jesus, were not ready to accept the great miracle that Jesus had done, and they tried to find some faults with him just as they always do. Jesus healed the man and the Pharisees heard about the healing. They summoned the man to them and asked about the healing. They tried their best to retract the man from his belief that the one who healed him was a prophet. They said, Jesus was not one from God. If he was from God he would not have violated the law of Sabbath. Hearing that, the man retorted saying, "I don't know whether he is from God or not. But one thing I am sure of is that I was blind and now I see. No one can do such things if he is against God." But the Pharisees were not ready to accept the testimony of the blind, and they did everything to excommunicate him from the society for the testimony that he gave. For in those days the Jewish council had decided to excommunicate anyone who accepts and proclaims that Jesus is the Messiah. One day Jesus said to his disciples that no one can hide any truth forever. For every hidden truth will be revealed one day. In the case of Jesus, what he said was absolutely true. Even though his antagonists like the Pharisees and the Sadducees tried their best to make the people believe that Jesus was a heretic and false prophet, they could not succeed in that even a little. For Those people that had known Jesus and had experienced his healing touch in their life became totally convinced of the fact that Jesus was not an ordinary man but God in human form. That faith started from the little village of Nazareth, ultimately spread throughout the world and became the greatest religion that the world has ever seen. In the case of the people like the Pharisees and the Sadducees, who tried to deform Jesus' fame among the people by their malicious propagandas, were finally forced to withdraw into the background of history as people with a distorted and malicious mind. Let us pray to Jesus to help us never to keep away from truth and always accept him as the source of all truth.